something I thought would be kind of cool thing to talk about would be just a very simple thing, but when we're talking about practicing the bass, a lot of the time when we're running an exercise or a scale or a mode, we hear that thing of practice it through the cycle of fourths, cycle of fifths, depending on which way you look at it. And that's a good way to practice something, but it's not the only way. And especially with more modern harmony, tunes don't necessarily just go through the cycle of fourths as they move into different key signatures. I've used Jaco's Havona before as an example of that. John Coltrane's Giant Steps would be another one. Joe Henderson, Inner Urge. Even the bridge of Have You Met Miss Jones, which, like I've said, is, I think, the inspiration for Coltrane's Giant Steps. Now, if we look at those tunes as inspiration for how the harmony moves and the key centers shift, in Giant Steps, which is a very famous jazz, really a standard now that John Coltrane wrote, if you guys are unfamiliar, definitely check that out and listen to Coltrane's version. There's a myriad versions, but listen to Coltrane's original version. And that shifts through 3 key signatures: B major, G major, and E flat major. So if we look at the movement, it's moving in major thirds, which is really interesting. So you've got to ask yourself, when was the last time you practiced something a major third apart? So let's say you're working on a Lydian mode. You're learning the Lydian mode, 4th mode of the major scale, right? And you guys know I love that as a sound over major chords, or major 7 chords especially. So let's say we've got C Lydian, right? So we're playing this. C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, right? All right, now, let's say we practice that, but then let's shift up. Let's go a third away, like shift down a third, major third be A flat, or you can think of it as going up a minor 6th to A flat, right? So we played C, then we go down to A flat, we'll do A flat Lydian. A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, right? So we're going to go from C Lydian into A flat. See? Now, what about a third below that? We'll be in E major right there. So we'll do E Lydian. See what I mean? Now, with this, you could run these as far as you could go up the bass and back down, or just do them over an octave. I think 2 octaves is really good. If you're not so strong on shifting and sliding, check out my Fingerboard mastery videos. In that, I give you some basic concepts using the major scale as kind of a platform to how to shift and slide across the bass. But generally, here's a little tip for free on this. Look, you don't generally want to be shifting and only playing 1 note on the next shift. So what you want to do is avoid this. I have a lot of students come to me and they'll play, like, let's say they want to do 2 octaves of C Lydian. They'll go, and then they're kind of on 1 string and kind of just guessing as they move up. That's not so good. It would be better to move across the fingerboard diagonally in a more gradual fashion in this case. So look, if I go, I could stay here and now move up on the same string, A, B, C. Now watch this. If I slide, see, so I go, see, I didn't do everything on the G string there as well. I could also do the same idea here, look. Then here, and then if I slide, or variations. One thing that I kind of mentioned as a general rule again, when you slide up, use the outside finger like the 4th finger. And when you slide down, use the 1st. Really generally avoid the 4th to slide down. It's awkward. So lead with that 1st finger down. Okay. So we could pick those key centers, like I said, shifting in thirds is really interesting. But try all these variations. I made a note of a few, so I was thinking, I was kind of thinking about posting this video, you know, I was like, well, look, you know, write them down, like ideas. So I was like, chromatically, whole steps, thirds, major or minor, and I was referencing, well, giant steps goes between B, G, and E flat. Have You Met Miss Jones? The bridge goes between B flat and G flat and D, so it's identical movement to giant steps. Havona, you have that first set of chords that goes E major, right, to C, then down a half step to B, right, which is really interesting. So you could practice, follow that as a grid. So you go, all right, let me go up E, let's do E Lydian. Right, now the next key is C, so C Lydian. And come back down too. And the next one is down a half step to B. See, different variations in fingering, just where I play it as well. So that's one idea like that. So that was using giant steps or Havona, that movement. Chromatically is cool. Check this out. So if you're going to do it chromatically, watch this. So we could go, let's do C again, right? Start on C. I'm going to start here though now. So 8th fret of the E string, all right? So I go C Lydian. Actually, let's do a different mode. Let's do C Dorian, all right? So 2nd step of B flat major, right? So we go, and there's our sound. There's that, remember that major 6th in there. What if I went down a half step to come back down? So it's going to be B Dorian on the descent, right? Now in this case, if I do this, watch this. Or as a one slide at the end, one note, but notice how it puts me really nicely back onto the root with the first finger slide. Check it out. Now, we've done C, Dorian, going up, B back. Let's go back up, B flat Dorian. Let's say the notes too. B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, down a half step, A Dorian, right? See what I mean? This way it keeps it interesting. The main thing for us is to try and kind of keep practice interesting. I was chatting with a student this morning. He's doing really well. He's a guitar player, but now he's coming over to bass guitar. He's seen the light. And this is interesting because he has some knowledge, but you know, we're obviously delving deeper into stuff with him. And one of the things we were talking about was trying to keep practice interesting, you know, and keep ourselves challenged. So whenever I'm working on stuff, even if I'm just warming up and just running modes, scales, arpeggios, I try and apply it to something. I'm not just noodling. I have students sort of say, oh yeah, I've been noodling on this idea this week. And that expression noodling to me has a slightly negative connotation in that it isn't focused. Now, no one's saying it shouldn't be fun to pick up the instrument and work on things, but it also should be challenging, especially in your practice. You're practicing stuff ideally you don't know, so you're working on new things. So if it's familiar material, but you haven't practiced it in different permutations, then it's worth looking at that. Yeah, most people know a major scale, so then different ways to practice it or the modes of that. And you should definitely apply this to other things like the diminished scale, harmonic scales, major and minor, and of course melodic minor. Okay, so that's it for today. Short but really useful little lesson, I think. And please support the channel. I'll put the information in the links below. You can also contact me for Skype lessons individually if you want. And look out for the new course. I'll probably put info in the description below as well, so you can buy it direct.